Hey everybody, welcome to day 395. Today we're going to talk about 4 reasons to titrate down, 4 reasons to lower your dose. And these can apply to people anywhere along the journey. Sometimes it happens at the beginning, sometimes it happens at goal weight. For me, it happened after I had been on maintenance about half a year. So it really can happen at any time. It's great to be prepared. Okay, let's get right into it. So I've done a lot of reading, a lot of researching. I've seen this one come up quite a bit. It did not apply to me. In one way, I would say, yeah, it did apply to me. Its side effects are too severe. Now, sometimes when you think of a side effect, you think of something that is an action that is happening to you, that is heavy. Mine was a little bit more subtle, and actually we're going to talk about it second. But I cannot tell you, maybe you're one of them, but you titrated up, things were doing okay. You got to a certain dose and the side effects, probably one in particular, became just so uncomfortable. You couldn't deal with it. It wasn't something that you could just kind of grit and bear and try to get through it and hope it gets better. It was like, okay, I'm going to need to titrate down. But I wanted to share with you that, let's say yours is nausea. Maybe it hasn't come yet. Maybe it's going to come in the future. I wanted to share that for a lot of people who are on Mounjaro, tirzepatide, semaglutide, they have shared that their doctor prescribed Zofran and that it has worked wonders for their nausea. So let's say that nausea is something that you just cannot get over. And boy, do I respect that, because that's one of the worst kinds of illnesses to me personally. I definitely understand if you need to titrate down. But I think when it comes to nausea, there are a couple things you can talk to your doctor about that maybe, if it's important to you, you haven't reached your goal weight yet, you're doing really well on Mounjaro, you want to stay at that dose, there might be something that you can take for your nausea. Another really highly mentioned side effect is poor sleep. I mean, people are talking about just how they're not getting enough rest, and you'll see things like, I cannot keep going this way. I mean, it just is like a hard stop, like something's got to give. I know for me, like for 4 or 5 months, I would just wake up in the middle of the night, wide awake. And I never had a problem with sleeping. I'd wake up hours before my alarm and just lay there perfectly content, wide awake. And that is a side effect that did get better with time. And for some people it does, and for some people it does not. I also did not write this down, but I was thinking about it. Some people have had allergic reactions at their injection site. And that's a side effect that some people try to go see their doctor. They tried to put cream on it. They tried to get to the bottom of it. Is it something in the Mounjaro? Is it something like in the shot itself, and the mechanism and the metal? Like, what is my body warring against? And one good friend who's on YouTube, one of my longest friends, my family just loves her. We've known her my boys' entire lives. She was doing fine on Mounjaro and then just had to stop because and it was the same way. Actually, there's 2. One is Mama in Milltown was talking about injection site issues. And then Yeli, Yeli, she's equally lovely on YouTube. She actually had to go from tirzepatide to semaglutide. Like, it was like, okay, I cannot deal with this allergic reaction. And I think that could happen to any of us. We don't go on Mounjaro or zepbound and think that we're going to get like a big red ring. My family friend said it was the worst itch. It was horrible. Like, she couldn't live with it. So there are definitely side effects that make you have to titrate down. People have talked about hair loss. I lost a lot of hair, but they say that after about 3 months at goal weight, it starts growing back. Mine absolutely did. When I did the hair loss video, I kind of pulled this hair back right here and kind of showed you. You can even see right now. Look at all this right here. I don't think I would have noticed it, except my hairdresser was like sharing it with me. I was like, what? So yeah, it's coming back in. And, we talked about sleep problems. Fatigue is a big issue for some people, like really difficult to deal with. And I just wrote down that when I did my video on fatigue, people were talking about how much vitamins help them. Not just the B6 vitamin, but a lot of you are taking a B6 shot, which is something worth talking to your doctor about if your fatigue level is just really suboptimal. Okay, number 2, it is terribly hard for you to eat more. Terribly hard for you to eat. Now, this is why when I went up to 7.5 at the beginning of November, I was on 7.5 for about 6 weeks. I ended up getting about 5 pounds underneath my goal weight. And it wasn't, that's not a big deal. My goal weight is kind of towards the top of the normal scale anyway. But y'all, it was 5 pounds below and dropping. Like I couldn't maintain it. I was working so hard just to get dinner in. I never felt like eating. It was really a chore. And so I definitely wanted to share that for some people, it becomes so difficult for them to get their calories in. And that for me, in my entire, year and a month on Mounjaro, my 13 months on Mounjaro, I would say the difficulty to eat has been the most bothersome side effect that I have had. So, the question is like, well, do we spread our shots out? Spreading your shots out can be really good for some people. It can be not so good for others. I've seen people talking about spreading their shots out and, there's some money savings there. Spreading them out maybe 9-10 days. Some of you have talked to your doctor. You're taking one like every 2 weeks. I love that. For me, that was a slippery slope. I was really excited to spread my shots out and I did fine. And then I should have just maintained like, okay, we're going to take it like every 9 days or every 10 days, but I didn't. I was just like, well, I feel amazing taking it every 10 days. Like how long can I go? And I just didn't stay regimented enough. And then my hunger came back so strong that it kind of derailed me. And that's when that dose no longer worked for me because I'd kind of wonkied it up in my long stretch without a shot. And I had lost about 80% of my weight and I had to go on up to the 5.0 to lose probably the last 10 pounds to reach my 60-pound goal weight. So I think that spreading your shots out can be great for some, but it's just something to really think about and really plan. For some people, I would recommend that you just keep your shots at every 7 days. And if you're really not hungry, just keep your shots every 7 days, but titrate down to the lower dose. So for me, I was on 7.5 instead of taking 7.5, every 9 or 10 days, which might have worked. For me, I went on down to the 5.0 and that has been going really well. Okay, so number 3, if your weight is too low, that is a really good reason to titrate down. So I want to be around 150 pounds. That is my personal goal weight for myself. It has changed. It was 158. And so, you know what that's like. A lot of you have shared the same experiences going on with you. And I love that. I think this is perfectly normal. I was so overweight for so long that I was just tickled to death to lose 60 pounds. And I love that it was like this whole number and I was working, hard. It took me about 5.5 months. And when I reached that, I celebrated. I went on a shopping spree. But then it was like, you know what? I think I want to lose just a little bit more. And I love that we're kind of tweaking it to make it our own. Just to find like kind of the spot that we really want to be when we feel most comfortable in our body and our clothes. So I really struggled eating on the 7.5 and my weight dropped to 145, 146. And that's when I was like, Doc, I need to go back down to the 5.0. And he absolutely understood what I was saying and there was no issue there. So I'll show you a picture here of me in my skinny jeans. And this is me weighing about 146. And John was on the couch and he's like, freeze. And he showed me his phone. I was like, I don't understand. It's so hard for us to come to terms with how we looked for so long and how we look now. Like it is going to take our brains just a while to come around. At least that's how it's been for me. And the fourth reason is because you're at maintenance, you feel solid, you're in control, and for you, you've talked to your doctor, you feel more comfortable being at a lower dose and then staying on that just as long as we need to. And that's another discussion, but there is no rush on this. And we're taking our health and putting it in the front seat and the driver's seat and the most important position. And I love that we're taking care of ourselves. And for me personally, I don't want to stay at a higher dose for months, for years. I would prefer to be able to titrate down to one of the lower doses and then stay happy, fancy free at maintenance at a lower dose. And so, you might want that lower maintenance dose and you're feeling great and you've really got your eating under control. And I think for some of us, our bodies just become this awesome, amazing machine. They just kind of get, we're eating kind of similar things every day. And you think, you know what? I think I might have tried to lower that a dose. And I love hearing your stories. I love hearing people who have reached their goal weight and then have started going down a dose as they have felt super comfortable at maintenance. So if you have any thoughts, if you want to add something to the list, if there's something that you have thought of and you want to add a reason number 5, I would absolutely love for you to drop it in the comments. That's been our video for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day.